Wagwan, Mr. Maps.
Yo, what it do, what it is.
Blue bumbleclad cold. Cold and wet and rainy.
You say you're wet, nigga? Hey, yo. Chill.
Dude.
We can't start the pod like this, bro.
I feel like you're the last person to be saying
No, we can't start like that. We can't start like that.
From last week, Vele, you can't pull me up on any pause machine after you.
No, that's what I'm saying. So good too much. The paying members of the podcast, they reached out and they said, "Hey, yo." so we need to regulate kancane. Otherwise kungaba problems, be paying opinions or opinions that we listen to. So that is our guarantee on this podcast. So yeah, Mr. Mo, you can't tell the people that you're wet out here. That is inappropriate.
Should I say the city that I live in?
There we go.
We go.
I think if you say the mother city is wet, then you can. That's acceptable. You know what I mean? Yo, why are you laughing, bro? Well, this is a serious podcast, bro. Or rather, a few days ago. Yeah. It's American sniper up on that. Yeah. It was peak. Yeah. Trump is also
Yay.
Oh man. All right, cool. Before we get into all of that, welcome back, guys. It is another wet episode of 6 Foot Weights, your favorite lubricated podcast. My name is Tabo.
And my name is Senna.
And yeah, we are here. We are good to go. Ready for a penetration, if we can say.
This guy. Tabo, let's be serious. No.
Okay, no, we'll be serious.
Serious.
No, we'll be serious. All right. Obviously, a lot has happened in many different aspects of society, political, in the sports scene, socials, people in court, like everything is what happened. So we will try and get through as much as possible on today's episode of the podcast. A lot of fun topics to jump into. Man, I don't even know where to start. Like, do you want to start with like the real shit, or do you want to start like with some funny shit?
I watched The Day of the Jackal.
Oh yes, let's go. Finally. Siyabonga Mrs. Moy. Siyabonga. Ngizamthumezela imessage ngithi hayi siyabonga sibili makoti. This is wonderful. Tell us, give us your review.
No, so for context, so nowadays whenever we go on like all the streaming platforms, for some reason, there's not a lot of rom-com content or rom-com type movies.
Why are you looking for rom-com as Indota?
Well, I watch rom-coms
enough romance.
No, I've got enough romance, but sometimes they're really good. Like my wife likes them and I don't mind them. Some of them are actually quite good, bro. Like,
so now we said no suspicious behavior and comments today. Okay. What do you mean with like rom-coms, bro?
You should watch. Okay, let me tell you the ones that you should watch. Right?
Okay.
Watch What Happens in Vegas. That's got Cameron Diaz and Ashton Kutcher. Watch.
Is this the young versions of them, or them now?
No. These are like old movies. These are like
all right. So early 2000s type shits.
Yes. Okay. Crazy Stupid Love is really funny. You should watch Crazy Stupid Love.
I feel like I've seen it.
That's got that guy from 40-year-old virgin. It's funny, but it's also like deep, but it's really funny.
Okay.
Um, I don't know what else, but there's a whole bunch, bro. There's all the black ones, all the black
All
rom
the
coms.
black
Sometimes
ones.
those,
Okay, racist.
like, no, I'm like, all of those are good, bro. Like
Naming
all
all
of
the
them.
white people, like, oh yeah, 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 there's all the black ones as well.
Yes, dude. There is all the black ones. There is all the black. So watch jumping the broom. That's funny.
Jumping the
Um,
broom. Never heard of that one.
watch Two Can Play That Game, the first and the second
I've
one.
seen that
That's
one.
Vivica
I've seen that
Fox
one.
with Morris Chestnut. Yeah, that's funny. The Best Man. I don't need to talk about The Best Man. Like that's
Yeah,
epic
yeah, I've seen that one.
TV.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, dude. Couple of Tyler Perry ones, the ones that aren't really weird. So there's Kunengi. There's a lot you can watch.
You know my issue with rom-coms, right? I used to watch rom-coms back in the day because again, DSTV was all about rom-coms, right? So like you watch Mnet or Movie Magic or whatever, the channels used to be called back then.
Yeah,
You've seen a bunch, right? And also my mom was a fan of rom-coms. So like again by
yeah,
default, like Sundays, my parents are home, my mom is watching TV. There's only one decoder. So if you want to watch TV, you kind of watch what your mom is watching, right? So I've seen I've seen a bunch. I've seen my only issue with them is that they're so predictable. That's my only issue where it's a love story.
yeah,
At the end of the day, love's going to win, and there's not enough. And you can say that with a lot of different genres, right? With horror and action and stuff like that. But then the difference
yeah,
is that with a lot of the action movies, at least the ones that I like, the action
yeah,
is different, right? Because it's a different character. So to me, John Wick is different from, Iron Man or Man of Steel or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah.
it's a different thing. Like so the way Superman
But it's
fights is
the
not the same way that Iron Man fights. That's not the same way Black Panther fights.
but
So
but you
even
see,
though it's the same shit.
someone listening to this who likes rom-coms will immediately pick you up on the fact that even in action movies,
Mm.
a good guy wins at the end, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, 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 absolutely.
even in rom-coms, love always wins, but the way love wins is different with each story. Each character is different,
You
each
think so?
male protagonist is different, each female protagonist is different. Sometimes it's a wedding trip, sometimes it's a bachelor party, sometimes it's my best
Yeah.
friend's wedding, sometimes it's, there's all these movies that it's Think Like a Man, right?
Yeah.
Love always wins, but the way we get there is hilarious.
No, I think on the black side, I'm much more willing to watch a rom-com because I don't know, something
Hmm.
about the black rom-coms, I do believe they're slightly different and slightly more entertaining for whatever reason. The white ones are the ones where I've kind of checked out, bro. Like it's just too manicured. It's just I don't know. It just doesn't
Yeah.
work for me anymore. I think I've outgrown those specific types, but
Yeah.
like it'll
Look,
depend,
some of
you
them are
know.
great. Some of them are great. Some of them are great. There's the Adam Sandler ones where it's very, very predictable, where he casts
Yeah.
himself with Jennifer Aniston and then they do
I mean, I used to
Adam
like those. I
Sandler,
used to I used to like a good Adam
Jennifer
Sandler
Aniston things.
comedy. Where's the one I really enjoyed was the one where I think it's Adam Sandler. He goes to Africa with this other date. They go to
You
Sun
see where
City.
he always casts himself with with the pretty leading ladies in Hollywood.
I mean,
I
he's the
think it's
director. It's
Blended.
up to him, isn't it? But like, I mean, that
No,
one I
of
like a
course.
lot.
Like I gotta clap for him.
What's that one? What's the one
Blended.
called? Blended. There we go. You see,
It's called
Blended
Blended.
was funny, bro. Like, like I genuinely
But you
I
see,
enjoyed
I
it.
I think there's so many rom-com that are funnier than Blended.
All right, fine.
Um,
Let's do this before we get carried away. Send me
mhm.
your two fighters. Just DM me and be like, these are my two fighters, and I'll watch them with my wife. My wife has no problem rewatching anything. If as long as I'm on
Okay.
board, she'll watch it. So give me your
Crazy
two
Stupid Love.
fighters, and let's see. We talk after that.
Okay. Go watch Crazy Stupid Love.
Okay. All right. We'll start there. We'll start there.
I'll start there.
And
But I
then
watched
if it's good,
oh
we'll
I was
continue.
actually I was actually just saying that one of the one of the things I picked up is there's not a lot of rom-coms coming up on streaming platforms now, or sort of that easy light watching stuff that women tend to enjoy.
You think
But there's a
so?
lot of action. I've just noticed, like in terms of what's coming up. I'm not sure if it's because it's summer in the US, so maybe the girls are outside, so there's not really an appetite for streaming like that. because once it gets to what December, right through till February, March,
Yeah.
it's even Netflix South Africa, right? They've got
Mm.
the Christmas stories and all of so I just picked up that during this period, there hasn't been a lot, but there's been a lot of action type movies and like senseless action. Like there's this one I watched. You watched the one with Tom Hardy,
Which
where
one?
it's just shooting on Netflix.
Nah, I haven't seen Tom Hardy.
Oh,
I haven't seen it yet.
let me look for it. You should. It's like senseless action shooting. Like
But
it's
you
just
know, Mr. Moyo, we started here with
throughout.
you watched Day of the Jackal. We're still awaiting your
Yes.
review of the Day of the Jackal.
Yes. I'm actually explaining how we got to watching Day of the Jackal. Sorry, I'm taking a very, very long scenic route to get there. Um, in any
You
event,
are
I just
loitering,
picked
son.
up,
You are
I'm
loitering.
loitering, I'm loitering. In any event, I picked up that there's not a lot of rom-coms and stuff now. And then it became easier to be like to myself, oh, so maybe let's try more action stuff.
Okay.
And then eventually I'm like, well, let's watch Day of the Jackal. Map says it's really good. And
Mm.
then we started it, then we watched it over the weekend. It was, yeah, it was dope. Dope. I really enjoyed it.
Out of 10.
Um, 8,
Okay.
7.5, 8.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is the lower score because of how annoying Bianca is?
I think so. And I think a part of, to be honest, I think she's the only part of the personality that felt a bit weird. Like the story that there's a part where she goes to confront her husband, who is currently somehow staying with his ex and it's fine. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was weird.
that
That was
whole thing
weird.
was just so strange. So, and then it's I don't know, there were moments, even when her and the other black guy, I forget his name, when they were exchanging, like there were moments where it was just a bit, it didn't come off great, and some of it a bit unrealistic.
In what
So
sense?
I'm trying to think of an example. So the first example is obviously the whole Ukulokos. So
Locals.
yeah, when she gets to her husband, right? That whole scenario. So it's like he moved out, he goes there. Are they still married? What are the implications of this? I feel like it didn't get into the story as much as I would have liked.
Hmm.
And then it just always came up as a bit awkward. Or like, okay, how is it affected? It's like 1 minute she's fighting, the next minute she's outside. And then how she has older sons, or does this man have a previous marriage? Like it was all a bit all over the place. But the rest of the story, like about the jackal, the deal, even the way like he holds suspense when he's trying to kill people,
Yeah.
that is cool. Like I think the acting and the production of those stunts. And when he's out in the river and he's trying to shoot the guy for the last time, and then
Oh,
he
yeah, yeah,
misses
yeah,
him,
yeah. Okay,
and
spoiler
then
alert,
he's
by the
just,
way.
oh, sorry, yeah. That was really, really cool. Like I remember we were watching that scene saying, "Ah, come on, can he just get out of the water, get out of the water." And then
Yeah,
you
no,
even root for the bad guy.
that was very suspenseful. Like you know what happened? Like, do you know? And the thing is, right? Obviously, like I said, a lot of these films are predictable, right? So what was really refreshing and what took it from like a 7 for me and pushed it to a 9
Hmm.
out of 10 is because of that last part specifically, where in my mind, I'm rolling my eyes like, oh, yeah, he's not going to make the final hit. The guy is going to survive, blah, 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 blah. Kanti, the hit went and he assassinated the
Hmm.
dude. So I was like, oh, shit. So
Hmm.
then immediately changes my entire outlook because I was pessimistically watching that. Because again, a lot of shows, the
Would be like,
assassin doesn't
ah,
win, right?
hmm.
And good prevails. So it was nice that okay, the bad guy kind of did win. And yes, they're setting up a second season or whatever, whatever. But like, so that really took it up a couple of notches, just the suspense from that. And then obviously, yeah, I was going to be annoyed if end up if a character as unlikable as Bianca, survived.
Why was she unlikable to you?
Ah, bro, she was just like the first thing with the Lokuzin, right? The was it the junkie? I think it was the junkie or former junkie where her
Yeah.
daughter died. I didn't like how that
Mm-hmm.
was handled and how like, she was lying to her and all that kind of shit. And then it just
Yeah.
I didn't like the idea that to be a kick-ass detective, she has to sacrifice everything, including her family, right? Like father of the
Mm-hmm.
kids is being like, dude, what the hell? You know, kids are also like Kanti, or I can't remember if it was multiple kids or if it was just a girl. But like, yeah, it to me, I didn't like that narrative of to
Yeah.
be a kick-ass professional, you can't
Mm-hmm.
have anything else in your personal life and you should be willing to sacrifice it. Everything is secondary. That's not a message that I liked
Mm-hmm.
personally.
And even if colleagues are
Yeah.
dying, right? So when they
Yeah.
try to find the gun manufacturer,
Yeah.
and then they get there, and then colleagues die, and then she comes back and says, "We need to go," and it's
Yeah.
like, "Yo, chief,
Yeah. Yeah.
do you know what I
No,
mean?
no,
You
no.
guys,
Like
you guys could have lost your lives."
it's almost like she wasn't a real like female character in my opinion. Like I don't think women like that exist. At least first, I don't know. And I think people have hearts,
And
Them.
and right till the end, right? So she's now faced with the dilemma. Oh, do you go after this person wherever after he's gotten away, like an assassin who's managed to get away and kill very, very powerful people?
Yeah.
It's a bit of arrogance to think you're just going to go there with just your other colleague and kill him.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yep.
a certain level of arrogance, and I was quietly pleased it ended the way it did
Yeah.
because
Me
I was
too.
like, yeah, like
I was pleasantly
Ukuzekile.
surprised. I was like, you don't deserve to kill him. To be honest with you, you don't deserve it. So let somebody else, come through and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, overall, I think I'm super excited. I hope season two comes, maybe next year or something like that, because the
Mhm.
assassin himself, I do like his character. Didn't say
No, that
much,
was
but he was dope.
really, really good.
He was
Hmm.
like that first shot in Germany. Hey, I was like, nah, fam. You have to have a scene that sets the tone in the first
Hmm.
episode where you're like, oh, okay, we
Like,
dealing with
what is this?
cool, 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 cool. You know? But anyway, let's not spoil everything entirely in case some people are inspired to watch the
So there
show,
will be
but
a season two.
you know. Okay, that's fantastic. That's good news.
No, I'm asking. I'm asking.
I don't know. Like at least the way they've set it up, it's set up for season two, right? But I don't know, right? It'll just depend on the streaming numbers and all, the usual stuff, right? So I haven't seen any news that they've greenlit a season two. Uh,
Okay.
I can look it up, but
Will there be? Apparently, it was renewed for season two.
okay. A
So I'm
release
sure it's going to be like
date.
in production.
I don't know. I've never heard of this website, Esquire, but they're saying Uh, while 2024 was in a golden year, blah blah blah, da da da. Da. Filming it. So we imagine, yeah. So filming is yet to begin. So we'd imagine 2026. It could be at the
Mm.
earliest on screens. So, all right. Anyway, let's keep it moving on to a little bit more serious shandies. Like I said at the top, Stisha Safa. Trump let the chopper sing, and the chopper sang back because as you probably know, the news ratings were on fire over the last 4 or 5 days. The U.S. bombed Iran, or specifically, they bombed their nuclear facilities, three of them, because as per Benjamin Netanyahu, Iran was very, very close, according to him and him alone, to
Hmm.
having a nuclear weapon.
Hmm.
So, generally, from a political point of view, the US has been very, very hesitant to have a war or be involved in war because the citizens of the US are very anti-war, right? At this point, the war in Iraq was a waste of time and a waste of approximately $2 trillion, apparently. So people are still, old enough to remember that was a waste of time. We don't need to be fighting wars that are not our wars. This is clearly beef between Israel and Iran. So what the hell is the US doing in the equation? That is the general
Yeah.
wisdom on the ground in America, right? So it came as a huge surprise that, and obviously before this strike, Israel and Iran have been sending missiles back and forth. So that was going on. And then the US decided, to bomb the nuclear sites, as per, Israel claiming that Iran was very close to having a nuclear weapon. So obviously, that changed the scales quite a lot because people said, whoa, if the US is involved, this can easily become World War III because the US has a couple bases, one in the UAE, one in Iraq, and one, the most important one being in Qatar. Right. And I think Bahrain as well has a base as well. So in order to hurt the US, Iran didn't necessarily have to send missiles to the US, right? There were targets here with American soldiers, thousands of American soldiers who were effectively sitting ducks. So there was a lot of panic in terms of what would Iran's response be. Iran's response was to send missiles, I'm told, towards Iraq as well, but the ones that were, most talked about were the ones towards Qatar. So people had
Hmm.
videos of like the missiles in the air and people running in the malls, like it was kind of sad. But the missiles were directed specifically towards the US base in Qatar, and Qatar did receive advanced warning that this was coming. And it was just kind of, this is the weird thing about politics, right? Because it's like, what do you mean you gave us notice that this is about to happen? Um, but apparently it's international law or something like that that you must say, "Good, hey, we're coming." But yeah, anyway, so that happened, and that immediately, political tensions were very, very high at that point, and
Hmm.
the US was heavily incentivized to broker a ceasefire to prevent things from
Hmm.
escalating. So yeah, in the dead of night, a ceasefire was agreed upon, which was then violated a couple a couple hours later. But it looks like things are relatively calm at the moment. I have not seen any news of any
Yeah.
new rockets fired missiles fired in either direction.
Hmm.
But what has really kind of left me flabbergasted is Trump's language and the language that he chooses to continue to use. I wanted to read a Lokuzen. Let me see if I still have the screenshot. There we go. Oh, is it the one? He had three tweets, and I couldn't believe that a president was tweeting this. So this is what Dear Donald said. There we go. Found it. So apparently he has his own social media, actually Truth Social, where
Yeah,
he
truth.
just
That's where he posts everything.
yeah, that's where everything is. But I just be saying the shit on Twitter, so I'm guessing the White House is copy pasting. So then this is after the ceasefire was agreed on by Trump. So Trump announces the ceasefire. That's the funny thing. He announces, "Hey guys, we have a ceasefire. Congratulations to both sides." Both sides are like, "The fuck, we don't." Like, what do you mean we have a ceasefire? And then even the minister of what you call it, foreign affairs was like, Jack, bro,
Yeah.
I will as a ceasefire, at least not right now.
Hmm.
So then, when the reports came out of the missiles being fired, right after the ceasefire was initiated, he then tweets, "Israel." This is in all caps, right? Israel, do not drop those bombs. If you do it, it is a major violation. Bring your pilots home now. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. Follows up 8 minutes later. Israel, it is it is not Israel is not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around and head home while doing a friendly, and then he puts in quotes, plane wave to Iran. What do you mean? Like, bro, like nobody will be hurt. The ceasefire is in effect. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. And then the last tweet, another 5 minutes or 6 minutes later, Iran will never rebuild their nuclear facilities.
Says that Iran violated the peace agreement and the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it. They've had a big fight, like two kids in a schoolyard. You know, they fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easier to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language.
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while you have to use a certain word. Israel got hit very hard, especially the last couple of days. Israel was hit really hard. Those ballistic missiles, boy, they took out a lot of buildings.
So this guy is just, I don't know, man. He's it's like, do you understand the scale and the brevity of the situation? You know, because like real people are dying, right?
Yeah. So
And Americans are worried, and the soldiers are worried. Like, yo, I'm just here to get my student loans paid off. What do you mean I'm in a war, right? Like,
yeah.
so yeah,
And we're at
yeah,
a moment in time, as you said, Mapos, we're at a moment in time where people have no appetite for wars in the Western world.
yeah,
So if you identify yourself as this liberal country that America claims it is, right?
yeah,
And very progressive. Those countries now, even France, and I know that they all have like these wars that they fund in Africa where they
mm,
fund rebels and sitting governments and all of those things. I know they get involved there, but they also can't be seen to be actively involved with their military in wars. And that's just because of history, right? From Vietnam, that was a very unpopular war, which was a waste for God knows how many years, for what felt like an eternity.
yeah.
And then there was Iraq. And then after Iraq, there was Afghanistan.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
And now there's going to be Iran and then they're still in Afghanistan. It's not like they've fully left the Middle East. They're still in the Middle East.
And there's the Obama and Libya.
Trump, who was it? Yeah, Biden tried to be like, oh no, let's leave. We're no longer here. And the planes were leaving and they were basically letting the Afghanistan government take over, which
Mm.
is kind of typical and how these wars have been. They did that in Vietnam, where eventually they say to South Vietnam, no, we'll defend you. And then eventually when things get tough, they pack up their planes and they're like, ah, we're not done here. We've lost the war.
No, because
And
it's
it
not cheap. Also,
happens
war is
every
not. It's
single
very
time.
expensive.
It's very expensive. So now what do you mean when you go to modern day America and how sort of I don't know, America is no longer the same old USA that was, yeah, defend America. Uncle Sam is calling you to go to war. It's not that country anymore. Like I think nowadays you'll have people protesting against that at a high level.
Yeah,
And and I don't think it's going to be popular at all. And I think Trump was a bit arrogant because if you know the history of this whole Iran USA thing, it goes so far back to an extent, it's not something you can just end with a tweet. You get what I mean? Like these are countries that have been at it for almost 50 years. You can't just decide, oh no,
this Bali
stop
is
when I
actually
stop.
insane. No, no,
Do you know what I
like,
mean?
yeah, yeah, like,
But I
who's
think
on
he's
his feet?
arrogant enough. But I think he's arrogant enough to think that this is this is the right way to go. And I think he thought that by maybe blowing up the thingies, the nuclear weapons, it would be like a US show of strength.
Yeah.
which would make everyone scared.
Yeah.
And perhaps he kind of overplayed it because he knows he can't commit too much American military to this thing.
No, you can't.
It's going to be so unpopular on the ground.
Yeah, yeah,
he'll be
you'll be
he'll be out
ousted
of
very quickly.
office very, very quickly. So let's say he does like a single exercise, which is
Mm.
what this was, right? It was just, oh, we're gonna blow up some nuclear plants,
Yeah.
which we're still not even sure if they were actual nuclear plants. We're gonna blow these
I
up.
know they were.
People
No, they
will,
definitely were.
okay, people will
Yeah,
think
no.
it's a US show of strength, and then they'll come back and be like, right, no, Tina, we're done. We'll listen to Trump. Trump has spoken. He did this, he did this. Because now, if these people say there's no ceasefire, then you have to commit
Yeah.
more military power
Especially if
to
the big
Israel.
thing was if Iran, and then Iran also knew this, right? If they had killed Americans, then it's done. Like now we're there. You know what I mean? Like it's yes, Iran was defending itself. So let's say, for example, when the bombings were happening of the nuclear facilities, they sent
Yeah,
out rockets that connected with one of the fighter pilots or the fighter jets. Then it's two Americans dead. And at that point, like
yeah,
Trump has shot himself in the foot because now you're within. There's no reverse gear, right? Why were you
hmm.
in their airspace in the first place? But now is you got to throw hands because now you really can't look like a bitch internationally. At the end of the
But
day, you have
but
to
here's the
you
thing.
have to avenge it.
But America has been since 1979, right? When I think Iran got their independence.
Mm,
America's been involved in because I think when Iran got its independence, they was just like, no, Tina, we don't want to live with Israel in the Middle East. So
hmm.
eventually they became enemies in
Yeah,
1979. So when the government took over, and I think they kidnapped some US citizens, and then the US since then the US has just been at war with Iran through Israel, right? For
yeah,
many, many years.
yeah,
So it's been like a proxy war, but it's a direct feud, right? These
yeah.
countries hate each other. And now we're at a point where it's like you say, Maposa, he's done all of this in a week, undoing what's probably been, I don't know, 50 years of American foreign policy.
No, it's insane. His first
And
6 months,
now,
legendary, bro, for the wrong reasons. Like the tariffs.
or
You,
maybe this is but maybe this is maybe this is the disruption that that this thing needs. I don't know.
No, again, there is, I do understand some method to the madness, right? But at the same time, so look, Iran is not the darling of the situation, right? At least as for the news that's out there, the initial agreement that was brokered was that they can enrich uranium and have nuclear power, but it's you can only enrich it to like 5 or 10%, which can be used for like electricity and a couple other things, right? However, the intelligence says that Iran was now at 60% enrichment, of which, when you're at that quota and above, we're talking
Mhm.
weaponization,
Weapons.
right?
Mm.
So that's where, but again, I don't know how true this is. This is what the news outlets are putting out there. And that's what Netanyahu is putting out there. Which no, 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 they're very close. They're very close. Meanwhile, on the Daily Show, Jon Stewart shows clips dating back to 2005 of Netanyahu saying the same thing, which is no, 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 they're so close. They're a few months.
Hmm.
They're a few months, and it's like, bro, how many? It's been 20 years. Like, how many more months are we waiting for Iran to be close at the end? Which is why I'm then skeptical of how much uranium had been enriched to this point. And then
But
I think big picture, probably between Israel and the US, there was some form of back channeling of like, look, man, we're gonna bomb these facilities, but after
mhm.
that, knock it off. Like that, literally. I think that was the conversation. Like, we'll do this for you, earns, but after, shut up. What that? Because you guys can't be
Isn't that
going
what
back and
Trump
forth.
said publicly?
But I don't know. Like, I don't think he said that. I think he said, I mean, initially he demonized Iran, right? The bully of the Middle East, blah blah blah. They don't want peace. Like it was a very pro-Israel. Him and Netanyahu were proud of each other when they released the initial press statements saying, "Oh, we've obliterated this, and we show stupid Monica. We show peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace." Yo, and I tell you, my blood was boiling, bro. Like, because especially with Netanyahu, you could see the smugness, and it's like it's annoying because it's like, bro, it's only because you have your big brother in the US that this is happening. This is not a case of like, oh, you guys have the firepower. It's different if it's a random country that's gone rogue and they have the firepower to do that. Then okay, be as smug as you want. But you're only doing this because Iran knows we can't have the US involved in this because that's effectively suicide. We'll get smoked. We do not have the facilities to, to take on the US. Because again, it is
But
the
the
biggest
problem
military
is
power in the world.
the biggest fear you have though as the US or Israel is to be drawn into a scenario where you have the other global powers getting involved on behalf of Iran.
Nah, but
Then,
Iran doesn't have homies. Like you're literally
of
talking
course.
North Korea, you're talking Russia, and then like even like with Qatar, like they're cool, but like even Qatar's like, hey, like we cool, but we ain't cool like that, like that. You know what I mean? Like it's all these backdoor. You know what I mean? When you're dealing with someone and you're
Hmm.
like wink, wink, like
Hmm.
we're cool, but publicly people can't know that means you're cool like that. So it yeah, and even at that, like Andy Trump met or spoke with Putin a few weeks before, and I think what was brokered there was like, hey, bruh, listen, I might come for Iran, but I need you to
Hmm.
agree. If I look the other way with what you're doing in Ukraine, when I
You
just
let me
chill.
be here.
Yeah, like don't come because again, Iran
Don't
is
get
close
involved.
to Russia. Russia has helped them out
Hmm.
with I forget what Russia gave them, but yeah. So basically, the common wisdom has just been like they're cool with Russia, right? So
Yeah.
normally, if everything was neutral, Russia should have backed Iran to be like, eh, stop this shit. Otherwise, we will jump in and smoke Israel, right? So then it becomes a
Hmm.
Russia versus US kind of thing. So I think the US clocked that and said, "Ah, first we need to deal with
Hmm.
who? We need to deal with the Mureki, that side, with the Hutman." And then we say,
Hmm.
Hutman, relax. Well, this is what's going to happen. But Laksa, Tina says, we see what you're eating there, Tina. We
Hmm.
tune these other, or our England, like, or France, I was when pants. You know what I mean? So I
Hmm.
think maybe that was the back channeling, at that, because I was shocked that Russia was just sat there on some, hey, Gunzim, you know,
Because they've
that
also got their
was,
own problems, right? They've
yeah,
still
yeah,
got
yeah, yeah. They've got
they've
their own
still
graps.
got Ukraine here and sanctions everywhere and a whole lot of things
But
to deal
Russia's
with.
harder to
So,
deal with, right? Because they do have their resources. Like you know what I mean?
mhm.
Like you can't, like with Iran, it can be bullied to a certain extent because of, we're dealing with limited resources, in at least from a military might point of view, but that's not
Mhm.
necessarily, and I'm pretty sure Russia already has its own, nuclear war. Like, so it's what you don't want to poke around with. Nobody wants nuclear war,
Yeah.
right? I think everybody
Yeah.
agrees that, hey, listen, no matter what happens, hey, like that's not happening, right? I think that's kind of the wisdom across the world.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, there's this politics thing, it's just I've just, especially when Israel started firing missiles towards Iran, listening to all the heads of the EU and stuff like that talk about, oh, Iran is the bad guy
Hmm.
and, we can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. I'm like, bro, do you not see what Israel is doing? Israel has the right to defend itself. And I'm like, I sit there and I listen and I'm just thinking to myself, like,
Hmm.
it's crazy how, and also like you look at a big picture, most of the citizens in those countries are protesting, if not
Hmm.
monthly, maybe weekly, talking about free Palestine, da da da, all these other things, what
Hmm.
Israel is doing. And it's like, if all your citizens on the ground are like, no, this is wrong, what Israel's doing is wrong, but you get on a platform
Hmm.
representing the country talking about, hey man, Israel it reserves the right to defend itself. Who's attacking Israel? Like, again, Iran aside, right? Because yeah, they have said, hey, like we've got smoke for these zones, but like
Hmm.
it's one of those things where it's like, no, you guys are doing too much, and there's only one country that's bombing, hospitals and all these other things. Like at least Iran had the courtesy to be like, hey, we are aiming for this base,
Mm-hmm.
right? In as much
Mm-hmm.
as that's not great, but it's like we're aiming for this base. It's not, this mall in Doha, right? So it's like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I don't know, man. With this this geopolitical stuff just kind of depresses you. I try not to get my head stuck in a lot just because you don't even know what's true. That's the most
But
frustrating
it's
part.
also it's inevitable, right? You'll come across it everywhere. It's all in the news. It's everything you see,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's real things that happen, and it's scary stuff. Like 'cause you're like, yo, imagine if because when you're from a third world country, that's the other thing that you must always think about because some of these things can happen in your country very, very quickly. So you're like, ah, just like that, nje, people can just start bombing and also war is a very silly concept in general. So you can't avoid it, Maposa.
No, you cannot. Anyway, let's move on to uh, something a little bit more palatable. Um,
Mm,
man. So today the group chat was on fire today, bro.
mm,
It was one of those days that I haven't laughed this hard in a very, very long time. There was a there was a silly side of it, and then there was a more serious side of it. The more serious side, I'll leave it. Can't put that out there for the streets. The silly side of
mhm,
it is one of the boys. He has these moments where we're just kind of like superb. You know what I mean? Like,
mm,
hi. Listen, singabanta abadala. Like, when someone says something so asinine, you're like, nigga, do you get that we're all
mhm,
grown, right? But anyway,
mhm,
so I think I don't even know let me go back to what started it. By himself, eh, let me see what man's posted here because that's really what started the whole social. Right. Go to message. Um, so the caption post this hand that none of us know, right?
mhm.
And then he goes, if there was ever a hand I fumbled simply by not being ready, right? So
What the fuck?
yeah,
This
yeah,
is like at random.
at random, bro. Like this is and this is 8:45 in the morning, bro. I'm like, coop. It's like I don't know. Well, actually, no. By that point, I was getting ready to leave the house. So by that time, I've showered. I'm dressed. I'm ready. But I haven't responded to a single email. Right. This is the
Hmm.
bullshit in the group. And then he then goes on to add more context, right? So he's posted. This is a baddie. This is kind of like think of your stereotypical, thick thighs, thick Cinnabons, to quote Dr. Umar, just kind of generic baddie that you would see, on Instagram with like, 50,000 plus followers type of thing, right?
Hmm.
That's who is posted here. So also, which is kind of like, can't do what the fuck. And then he then adds more context. He goes, but she dated Drake and I had no chance. So Vela had no chance. So then,
Huh?
yeah, like that's our reaction as well, right? So we're just like, nigga, are you trying to say that you were talking to a babe that dated Drake and then you fumbled? There's too much going on in all of what you've just said, coupled with the fact that
Huh?
in the whole group chat, this is the cheapest dude in the group chat, right? So so to me, this like the maths is not making any sense because I'm like, first of all, this dude, this is how cheap he is. I told this nigga, hey, bruh, take your Wi-Fi, like buy a router for your house. He's like, no. Me, I've got an unlimited plan on my phone. So there's no need for me to buy Wi-Fi. I'm like,
That's
ha!
a
Like
dead
it,
element
yeah,
right
exactly.
there.
You know what I mean? So this is the type of person, just to add a bit of character, this is the type of person that we're dealing with at the end of the day. And then he's telling us, oh, she dated Drake. I don't feel me. I was out of my financial lane. Da, da, da. And I'm like, Chief,
Drake.
so Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even me in my mind. I'm like maybe because he's based in the U.S., right? So who knows what goes on in America and all that kind of shit. But like, I was literally sat there. I'm like, you cheap nigga found a hand that is either claiming Drake, which I again is a very high likelihood that she is claiming. Maybe she was at a club and Drake bought the section and the section came with Hans. Maybe that's what she mean. Nah, I mean, like,
That would be so sad.
no, but honestly, like, look, to me, it just didn't really present as, because also in my mind, I'm like, okay, I know for a fact you didn't spend on this hand. So like, what did you do on this date? It's like, yeah, I bought her a couple of drinks and that was the night. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, a hand that has dated Drake would probably, again, tell me if I'm wrong, Mr. Moore, probably would have ordered the most expensive shit on the menu because she's used to dealing with niggas with money, right? So she's probably like getting
Yeah.
champagne or getting this, and that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we would have heard the night of the date because you'd have probably been calling, like, hey, guys, I need a muscle loan because I've been financially ruined by this hand.
You're so rude.
No. Honest, no. For real. Like, listen, if you're dealing with a baddie with celebrities, dog, she could easily run a tab off. And I'm not even being dramatic. She can easily run a tab of like $10,000, right? Right in front of you. So it's not like it's very very possible, which is why you never ever deal with. You must understand, bro. If you're prem, then you get prem babes. But if you're in League Two, then you need to understand. Financially speaking, you're in League Two, right? So if you pull from the prem, y'all see the wages that Marcus Rashford has, bro. If you're going to recruit Marcus Rashford making £350,000 a week, I have to be prepared to pay those wages. I can't go back and be like, man, them Rashford's asking for 350. Me and my club, we pay 50, right? So all of this to me,
And then you get a baddie like Sancho. And when you're Chelsea, you're like, yo, bro, can you lower your wages?
yeah, exactly, exactly. So imagine, imagine, right? We're talking about like Wrexham, for example. Wrexham trying to court Rashford. Like that's effectively if Chelsea can't even court Rashford, what is Wrexham going to do with their current, books and financial standings? So the whole time, like I'm asking questions like, aye, chief. All right, fine. Show me a picture of you in this day. Like let me see. You know what I mean? Like, okay, fine. Like give us some because like
Wait, so this is not a joke. Like, this
no,
is
no, it's
for
not a joke.
real.
No, he stood on business. He stood on business. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, like, Chomlo.
Okay.
So that's where I was like, look, most of us in the group chat were like, nigga, cat. Most of us just said, that's bullshit. Like, nah, try again. But Zama
Can
us
give
with another story.
limazela phela umuntu kodwa.
Listen, man, Wrexham is out here moving, man.
I'm also just asking. No, but how do you know? Like, sometimes you just don't know, like, what leagues people are in.
Listen, bro, that baddie must have been down bad, is all I'm saying. Because nah,
Mafos.
nah, nah, nah. No. I'm purely speaking from a financial point of view. Me, listen, I full disclosure, I couldn't have done any better. That's what I'm saying. Like it's not like I'm saying, oh, no. The better I would have done would have been
But,
staying the hell away from her.
right.
That's the better
But
that
what
I would have
if,
done.
but what if the game is not about wages? It's
No, it's
about
about
the love
no,
of
no,
the
no, no,
game.
no, 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 no.
So,
That one is
it's like, I'm just saying, like, it's like someone who's just playing for the love of football, not for high wages.
no. Rashford has shown clearly that he's about his wages.
No, but what if
Might
it's not
play
Rashford?
I might play a little
What
bit.
if
No. This
it's
is Rashford, bro. This is if you're dealing with the
no,
Drakes
but
of the world, we're talking
no,
about
hold
Rashford.
on. I'm just saying. No, but it might not be Rashford. It just might be Ronaldinho at Barca. He's not
Nah,
asking for too much money, but he's there.
said, must I show you what this and what she looks like?
Doesn't matter.
She's what have you seen that there's this thing this jumpsuit that all the Huns are wearing, like the at least the Instagram 50,000, 100,000 followers Huns are wearing, where you basically look naked, right? On the thighs is almost see through and then covers only the main parts of the body, right? You've
This is why
seen
Instagram is not for me.
you've seen that is the outfit is washed, right? That
Okay.
is the type of person that we're talking about here, right? So to me, if I see that, I'm like, okay, you're about the wages. It's not about the game, right? Like you said, there are some people who are not about the what you call it, right? They're not about just the wages. They have a little bit more to them, blah 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 blah. I hear you. However,
Hmm.
at least I'm just judging because all I know is what I've seen of this person. So my judgment is, nah, here for a bag. But even at that, I'd love to ask her, be like, what did you see from my yap that made you think that there's a bag? Because listen, man, like these hands are very, very good at spotting where the bag is. I'll give them that amount of credit, right? They know where to
Yes.
hang around, who to target, how to target them. So they know what they're doing. So, like, again, maybe I don't have all the facts because I need to understand, like, how did you get her number? Were you at the bar and then you guys made eye contact? You know what I mean? Like, I think I need more information. But as the argument was currently constructed, and then to go, I fumbled the bit where we're not even clear that you were in the fight. So how do you even fumble a fight that you were not even a part of? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like I think there's more facts that are needed. Maybe you might need to have the brother on the podcast to discuss what was going on. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
All I'm
but
saying is
wait, why? Okay, so is it just based on so the fact that you think she's part of the game, right? Let's put
no. I
it
think I
that
think I
way.
think I think she's
So
focused on the
you
bag.
think
I think she's focused
so?
on the
No,
bag.
exactly. So and focus on the bag being part of this game, right? That everyone apparently plays.
Yes.
Where those type of people apparently play, right?
Yes. Yes.
Right. I'm saying so you're basing it on one, the way she looks,
Yes.
two, the content that's on her profile
Yes.
and what she's
And
wearing,
that she's claiming Drake.
and that she's claiming Drake.
That's the biggest piece of evidence that she's claiming Drake. Or, according to her, she dated Drake.
But what if she's an ordinary girl who dated Drake?
I don't
Is
think
it
Drake
to
dates
is it to
ordinary
say
girls.
that any girl that Drake's dated is a
Well, if you let Kendrick Lamar tell it, absolutely. You know what I mean? He literally has a bar, I believe it's in Euphoria, where he says the girls that are fucked with, I'm paraphrasing, but the girls that are fucked with you confuse themselves for real women. That's
no,
Kendrick
I'm
Lamar's review of the women that have dated or date Drake. That's his review. Obviously, I'd sooner lean on what he said because I ain't never seen them, right? Nangwas. It's not my world. I don't know these things. But, you know, Kendrick might have seen
yeah,
some of this because they used to be cool, right? Featured on each other's albums, blah, 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 all this other stuff. So at some point they were cool. So
yeah,
I'm willing to go on a limb and be like, he's not totally off base with the type of women that Drake is attracted to, right?
yeah.
And if the rumors are true, the his baby mom's is a former porn star, right? If the rumors are to be believed. So I mean, yeah, and it's not outlandish for me to be like, hey man, look, this man was dealing with Marcus Rashford. It's not
Yeah.
outlandish to put that forward. That's where it didn't make sense. Had it been a regular girl, maybe mention someone like I don't even know what rapper is down to earth or whatever. But sure, I'd be willing to, cool. You never know. Also, if it was like a South African celeb, the money difference is not that huge, right? Where you never know. Maybe the hunt did date Casper or some shit like you never know, right? You can't rule it out completely. It's possible, right? But if we're talking someone earning millions and millions of Joe Bidens, I don't know, bro. I don't know. That's
Look,
why I
I'm
said,
just saying,
hey,
sometimes, no. I'm just saying sometimes, a club will sign, like Como, they signed Varane after he was done with Man United.
yeah, that's after.
So there's potential for that as well, you know. or maybe it
So
was
so you're
10 years
basically saying
ago.
this is Carlo at Everton.
Maybe,
Okay.
maybe it's Carlo at Everton,
Okay. All right, I'll give
maybe
you that.
it's I don't know, Rooney at Everton, back in the day, or when Drogba went to Galatasaray.
Mm,
You get what I
mm.
mean?
Okay.
Um, I'm just saying it could be that it was a natural thing.
Okay. Look, it's these are socials from the steezy, from the States, so you never know at the end of the day. It could happen. You're all in the right places. You could bump into the Marcus Rashfords of the world at the end of the day. And this season, Rashford wound up in a Villa jersey on loan, right? So
Yeah.
I guess it's possible, but there's too much. The spirit of Mziligas is too entrenched in him, for me to believe the
Mhm.
story. That's where I'm like,
Okay.
it's
No,
not
no,
it's not
no.
adding up.
But I mean, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, all right, fair enough. You're a good person, bro. Me, check. Nah, then check. Yeah, but anyway, it is what it is. I found that to be probably the funniest thing that has happened this week, where I figured, you know what, let's talk about this. Um, yes. Meant to do this at the top of the pod. Shout out to one of our listeners, Tapiwa Musa. Just wanted to shout him out specifically because every week, without skipping a beat, he stays posting the pod. He posted a
Yes.
link.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen, I know it's yours pod, but here's the link, just in case.
Yep.
Now, I mean,
Yep.
so shout out to him. Big shout out. He's like the
Big, big shout out.
consistency unrivaled. So big shout out to you, bro. We appreciate you. We appreciate every stream, every click, every share. He does the right thing. He likes the thing. He retweets the thing. He's not a hater.
Subscribes to the thing.
Subscribe to the thing. So yeah, big shout out to you. We appreciate you. You are the listener of the year, at least as things stand right now. So wanted to do
And you
that.
say, and you say class into school price give me.
Yeah, no. Man's has worked. Man's has worked. He's done the right thing consistently. So yeah, no, man, I can't even hate in any way, shape, or form. The other thing that I wanted to flag here is one of my friends, one of my dear friends, Mo. Full name is Muritsi Kabang from Botswana. Went to school together, went to high school together. And he's I believe this is his studio, or at least he runs it. But let's just go with, for the sake of the story, it's his studio. Um, it is My Nane or My Name, who knows? Me, I'm reading it as an African. So My Nane Studios. They've released a series of short films, and before I kind of go into those details, to swag Jack a little bit, Mo was one of those people that knew from a very, very young age what he wanted to do in life. Like it was great. So like a lot of us in high school, we have these ideas. I, at the time, wanted to be an engineer because that was kind of my dad's field, right? So I was kind of like, you know what I mean? Like I was just kind of everywhere. I didn't know what I wanted to do career wise. And I think that's very similar to a lot of people, right? In terms
Yeah.
of it took a while to figure out even the profession that I'm in right now. Like I never even dreamt of it. I'm here because I'm making money, right? Like it's not like I'm in life, you know what I mean? I'm not one of those who jump into a podcast and like, oh my God, I love my job. It doesn't feel like work. The work feeling like work, people. You know what I mean? At least the work pays. But it's definitely we at the plantation. We ain't confused. But with him, from day one when I met him, he was big into photography. He was big into videography. He was a creative, right? I think me and him worked because his personality is
Mhm.
shockingly similar to yours. Like shockingly. So it's actually so funny how similar you guys are. So he was always like, I think me and him
Mm.
worked because I was the, the loud, erratic dude, and he was like the calm, just kind of smooth operator, just chilled, super. I don't think I heard him yell once, and that was because we were playing football and he was yelling for the pass. That's the only context I've ever heard him yell, right? So genuinely one of the nicest dudes around, and one of my, like just top guys. So yeah, that was Mo. So anyway, has the studio, and it's been absolutely killing it. You know what? I
Mhm.
hate you go into Instagram and then you leave the app and then it fucking takes you back to the main page. Apologies. Anyway, so they have a short film. If they have a short film, called Baratani, The Hill of Lovers. And it was selected, or rather, it was nominated. There got 10 nominations. I think this is in Canada specifically for Best Short Film International, Best Foreign Language, Best Experimental Film, Best Black Actress, Best Actor, Best Cinematography, Best Photography, Best Art Direction,
Mm.
and Best Costume. So
Mm.
they've been absolutely cooking over there. And I was like, if I scroll through, they have different ones. Let me see here. There's something that they were doing. They got in Zim as well. Also, yeah, so in Nigeria, they at the what is this called? The Echo International Film Festival. The same movie that I just mentioned was officially selected. Ba, 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 announced that selected. What was it selected for? I guess best movie. I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm looking for the Zim one. The Zim post is the one that I wanted to highlight as well. But yeah, they've basically, so this movie has been getting tons and tons of nominations all around the continent and
Pop.
internationally. They have another movie that they did, I think, last year, which was also nominated for a bunch of other stuff. Oh, there we go. So the The Hill of Lovers had its Zimbabwean premiere in November 2024, and it scooped the
Mhm.
Best International Short Film Award at these prestigious ZAFTA Awards. This is the Zimbabwe Annual Film
Yes.
and Television Awards. So yeah, no, they've been cooking. They've been cooking. So shout out
That
to
is big,
Mo.
man.
Shout out to his crew. I've been meaning to do this because he posted this like months ago, and I keep
Mm.
forgetting whenever we're like recording and stuff like that to shout him out. So like I wrote it in big capital letters. Shout out to Mo, shout out to you people, shout out to my Nane Studios, and keep doing the damn thing. So those are my two shout outs
Mhm.
for this week, Mr. Moy. People are
No,
doing
big ups,
cool
big
things.
ups. People are doing amazing things, bro, and in different fields as well.
100%.
Um, and I remember, I'm not sure how much ZTV you watched when we were growing up.
Mm.
Um, there were so many shows, man, back in the day, and I think blues was always like the big center. Just in terms of the creative stuff. I just remember these drummers. Well, I'm not sure. No, I won't count to Studio 263.
Dramas or drummers? Which one are you talking about?
Dramas. What was the difference?
No, no, you said drummers as in like, a drum is. So I was like, wait, what?
Oh, no, no, no. Dramas.
Okay.
Dramas.
DRA.
Dramas.
Okay.
DRA.
I got you.
DRA. So
I'm with
there
you.
were quite a few. Um, like Studio 263, if
Mhm.
you remember that whole thing. That
Studio
was
263. It is the place to be.
yeah.
Something, something, something.
But, yeah, but there were some Ndebele stories
263,
from time to time.
263. You know what? Since you're talking about studio, the goat in skies.
Hmm.
Did you ever watch this series on FPC called Slandula?
Yes, Kapula Tonga.
The main actor was my dad's boy, bro. So I used to see the Bali. I used to see the Bali all the time. Oh man.
What was it called? Was it called Kukula Kuphela?
I have no idea, bro. Me, I just know we called it
I,
Slandula.
I,
That's what we called it.
I think it was Kukula Kuphela, but I'm not really sure. I'm
Yeah,
not really
man.
sure.
We used to it was reminiscent to me of What's Mzin? Where's in Caesar?
Zinwezi Nsizwa.
That was good comedy up there with what is good is now. What was the item called? What try again, man? Stumo's item.
Stomos Good is nice, yeah.
Oh, it was called Good is nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it had another
It
name.
was
But yeah, there we
called,
go. It was though
yeah.
that was stuff that we grew up on, bro. Like that was all
Yeah.
like, peak entertainment, at least at the time for me,
That
man.
was peak. No, and then there was Gringo on ZBC. Do you remember Gringo?
Yes, Gringo. Gringo was there was Gringo and there was another Arab. Gringo was funny, bro. Bro, we're actually old, man. We're old men, unfortunately.
Dude,
Um,
you realize that some of these things my little sister will never ever know they existed.
bro, the young ones don't know. They'll never know. Um, but yeah, on to some more disappointing news, Mr. Moore. We'll do
Mm,
disappointing and then we'll do funny. We'll finish with the funny one. Um, on the disappointing side, I was scrolling through stories, right? And I saw my cousin's story. I can't remember who tweeted. It's like someone tweeted that every time it was Tabo's it was like a gif, like every time Tabo mentions one of his cousins on the pod, like basically all of my cousins are worried. They must all be worried because they sometimes they be wilding, right? They just be doing wild shit. Anyway, cousin number one, he's not really number one, but he's one of them, um,
hmm.
post on your story. And it's a plastic cup, right? With
Hmm.
for all intents and purposes, a substance that looked like chocolate milk, right? That's what it looked like. So plastic
Okay.
cup with chocolate milk. That's what it looked like, right?
Of
However,
course.
a next to the plastic cup in his hand with what looked to be chocolate milk was a bottle of Jack Daniels. So I'm intrigued, right? Because I know what Jack Daniels looks like, right? It looks a little more
Hmm.
like apple juice. So had his cup looked like it had apple juice. Oh, okay, cool. You know what? He's having JT. I wouldn't even have said nothing.
Hmm.
I'd have just moved on, right? But then
Hmm.
I'm like, hold on a minute. Are we dashing chocolate milk with JD or JD with chocolate
I,
milk?
th- I
I was
think that
very
sounds like it
concerned.
was slap. Oh,
No, no,
I've
no,
done that.
no. That sounds like an appointment with the toilet, Mr. Moy. What are we doing? What are we?
What do you mean? What are we
You
doing? We're
you
making.
dash your JT with chocolate milk.
Well, sometimes you can be like Jameson, like you do like an ice cream
Oh no!
milkshake or something. Then you put whiskey inside, and then
Whoa! This is I didn't know you heathens. That's crazy. Okay, all
you
right,
never
fair
done
enough.
it.
No, I've never. What am I doing putting chocolate milk in? Look, is it? That's in his offer. But anyway, I DM Mukai, and I'm like, excuse me, sir. What is the mix that you're holding? I see the whiskey, right? Ngiyayibona sibili. However,
Yeah.
what's the rest of it? Because it doesn't match the consistency. He then responds and says, "It's a, it's coffee liqueur." And I say, "Hey."
Oh, that's powerful.
So I respond and I'm like, "Yo, I think he said Irish liquor or something, whatever he said, but y'all know what I'm talking about." So I,
Hmm.
I then respond, I'm like, yo, so are you saying you've mixed Amarula with JD? Because that's what came into my mind, right? I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like this, maybe could be Bailey's, right? But I was like, okay, did you mix Amarula with JD? And he goes, yeah, it slaps. So I say this to say, uh, young people, young
Okay,
people listening to this
I wasn't there.
podcast,
Can I rewind? I
okay,
apologize. I'm not no there. That's a
guys,
different level.
each generation, Galindo, this is who I'm speaking to here. Yazi nizofa. A real death. Like look,
A real one.
most millennials will tell you if they tell you, hey man, what used to happen, they'll tell you a couple stories. They'll say, oh yeah, it was Russian Bear. We need a rematch with Russian Bear. But they won't say Russian Bear and Bear. No, 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 no. Russian Bear, right? stops there.
Russian
Oh,
paper Tanqueray.
Gordon's, yeah, Tanqueray, no. We had no money for Tanqueray. It was Gordon's, right? So, like, you know what I mean? Russian Bear, Gordon's, Pushkin, like it's one. It's very boom. This was
I'm
the
actually
poison
so
of choice.
grateful. I'm so grateful I found alcohol late in my life.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know any
unnecessary
of
that
these
day.
things.
It's
What's
unnecessary.
the yes? Like I'm listening to you say a lot of names, and I'm like, yeah, what are all
No, no,
these
no. Listen.
things?
For all intents and
Push
purposes,
it.
I know nothing about this. I'm just telling people stories, right? Same me, y'all. It's not the person I was, but I will say, Russian bear. Ah, yes, I saw is see. I can't name him, but he knows. He listens to the podcast. He knows himself. That guy, he went to war with Russian bear one time, right? We had a braai one of the random summers I was home, and it was at Mabuweni, right? And he thought he was brave, so he was having there was a special Russian bear fusion. That fusion, it could deal with you, either the fusion or the vanilla one. Those were the dangerous ones. And I know he tried, Shem. He tried, but then by towards the end of the braai, when someone quietly by themselves exits from where the people are, right? So we're all kind of like still around the price stand and that kind of shit. Like people are just socializing. He moves away from the social goings on, finds himself at Dwala, and just lays there. That's how you know that Owen is seeing stars. So maybe I clock like there, like back of my arm, like, oh, wait, what? Am I seeing someone back there? And they is laying there, bro. And that's when the problem is the problem with alcohol, right? You don't know you've had enough until you've had enough. And then it's
That is true.
sing you know what I mean? Like it's shit. It's man overboard type shit. So he's laying there fighting for his life. Then 10
Yeah.
minutes later, started throwing up. So it was just, yeah. Anyway, plenty of stories of that kind with regards to Russian bear. Russian bear scarred a whole generation, in sub-Saharan Africa. I don't even know why that. I always chuckle like if I'm at Tops or whatever and I see it. I always chuckled in my mind because I'm like, yeah, this thing dealt with people and it was cheap. I think it was like $4 or something like that. Like it was cheap, bro,
$4 for what?
for a whole bottle.
For that 750 ml bottle.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think it was cheap, bro. It was not one of them super expensive, it wasn't a bottle of Henny or whatever, right? So like people would buy like maybe 4 or 5 and hey, yeah, no, that era, it hurt a lot of people. But all this to say, please, young people, our generation was smart enough to keep it at one culprit. This thing of mixing Amarula and JD and whiskey. Like I don't even understand who thought that would be a good idea.
Do you know how old you sound right now?
No. Listen, we're here to give wisdom to the youths, bro. Like we can't have them do these things and we ignore, right? So if someone is listening and you're one of the people that do this nonsense, please don't be mixed. There's another one. They mix tequila and something else. I think tequila and vodka is what I saw once. Oh no, I saw vodka. No, I saw tequila and champagne. So a Han do tequila and champagne. And this Han was
Okay,
definitely in
that
her 30s. She's definitely in her
I
30s. So I was like, I don't
understand.
know what kind of problems you got at home, girl, but like, yo, there's
As a
therapy,
is
bro.
it like as a cocktail or is just like by itself?
She was dashing it, bro. Like, so she would put like three quarters champagne, and then the rest would be like tequila. And I'm just there like,
Hey,
how was it? I think there was even champagne and whiskey at some point. I don't know. So anyway, guys, listen, we all have problems. So that's not an excuse. So please, ngiyacela, I'm asking
ah,
nicely. Let's not let's stop tempting fate because it's not good
you
this
are
thing.
you are definitely now at your dollar age for real.
No. This is people need to know this, man. People need to know this. But also, Twitter was back at it again we're gonna mention one of our mutuals here, Mzi, because he had the tweet of the week for me at least. So where it all started from, where it all originated, right, is the usual. Guys, I apologize to be bringing us back to this point, but hey, you know what it is. We recycle topics on Twitter. So you stop me when you know where I'm going with this, Mr. Moore. A
Yeah.
genuine question to Zimbabweans. When you approach me and start a conversation with me in Shona and I respond in Isindebele and you say Andizibi Mandevere and I code switch to English
Here we go
and you continue
again.
in Shona,
This bullshit.
do you expect me to continue the conversation? So anyway, so that was that argument. So we won't get into that because me, I'm tired, right? Um,
I think,
so
to be honest, I think this is one topic that I
no,
think
that one will never
everyone is
stop.
just so
No,
much
that
fatigue.
no, that one will never
Like
stop.
everyone knows what the right
NRZ
answer is. Like at
NRZ
this point, we're
Twitter
now just
will never let it die, right? So also because I looked at the people, right? So the thing is, some of the responses that I found peculiar, I look at them and I'm like, it's always the same. Is this the right guy? Yes. This is disappointing. The guy who responded, who I'm about to talk about, is a Chelsea fan. It says teacher, Chelsea fan, and then it's a sentence in Shona. Then there's another one where I knew it was true NRZ Twitter, where he was like father, husband, Christian. I was like, okay, sharp. Definitely NRZ Twitter. So anyway, so that's the tweet. And then this person responds and says, "You are not Zimbabwean if you cannot speak Shona," right? So obviously, people are responding and whatever. One person with sense says, "You're doomed if you think like this every day. Get help." Which, anyway, whatever, right? So we get to Mzi. Mzi then quotes the tweet saying that you're not Zimbabwean if you can't speak short. He quotes the tweet and says, "Don't threaten us with a good time." I was like, yo, you know what? For real though. For real though, like, hey, listen, if y'all are trying to deport us on the basis that as Kulumus Shona, like,
yeah.
look, what movie is it? That meme? Is that, oh no, I'm devastated.
So upset.
It's like, come on,
Um,
dog. That's
do
that's
you know what
not
the
that's not
thing?
a threat.
And it speaks to that whole how patriotic are you really
Yeah,
sometimes. So it's like, dude, we need to make this country work. Our country has far bigger problems than this other problem that you're not trying to add, right? And for this country to work, it means that we shouldn't have tribalism and it should be inclusive. And regardless of how you feel about what it means to be Zimbabwean, we need to be an inclusive republic. So the moment you start saying things like that, is bringing back the same conversation. And I think Elon hasn't helped politics because now people are engagement farming.
yeah,
And that's what ends up upsetting me because I think we then get easily brought into like I'll end up seeing top football journalists being baited by trolls with blue ticks. I'm
yeah.
like, what are you doing there, bro? Like this is probably a teenager chilling in his room somewhere in Mumbai. He doesn't care. He just wants clicks. And then you
Chilling.
have
This man said in Mumbai.
no, like actually, when they did like a hit on the athletic, they found that a lot of these accounts are that part of the world.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Which is like you think would you're talking and relating to like the steak fat accounts
Mm.
that will post images and then will have the steak logo on it. Yeah, it's just numbers, bro. Some people are just chilling, they're just pushing tweets generate content.
Hectic.
And then that's how you end up with debates, who's better, Hazard versus Salah. And then we're now going back on this loop
So,
every
Manju,
other day.
what's your excuse for the ESPN admin account on Twitter? Because they be wilding for real. ESPN FC
Same
rather.
thing.
They
Same thing.
that one is
It's the
actually
exact
top.
same. It's the exact same thing. The exact same thing. And it's just to generate traction and clicks and views. Then you can sell advertising. So even if ESPN then can go to Betway and be like, look, we've got 100,000 views on our tweets and videos
Mm.
every day. It's goes into your commercial model and you can leverage that to make money somewhere, somehow. And
Real
in
quick.
reality, it means that, yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, no. I was just my thoughts kind of came out. I was just saying, shout out to.
Oh, no.
Side note, shout out to Sabelo. Sabelo sending me music, bro. When new music drops and new albums drop, he DMs me, bro. So shout out to him. Shout out to him. But anyway,
Big
I
up
I,
himself.
I apologize. I apologize. I got
Shout
excited.
out. Shout out to Savelo.
Shout out to Skizo. Shout out to the man.
Like right in the middle of.
No, my bad. My bad.
I think
My
actually,
bad.
it's like when Parliament trying to solve Zimbabwe's problems. So, hey guys, I just want to say shout out to my homies. I
Yeah.
want to say shout out to my moms.
Moving. What's
Thank
that
you so
EFF name?
much.
What's the name? Isn't Ngozi Ndlozi? What's his name?
Josie.
Ndlozi. He interrupted the earn is like, is it what is the item where it's like you don't read political literature, you read fiction, whatever. What is the item? You remember?
I've forgotten it. I've forgotten
Oh
that
my god.
one.
In terms of our constitution, who decides when to appoint or disappoint ministers in your cabinet? Those who are seized by delusions of grandeur, fashion themselves as
Point of order.
commanders-in-chief and instruct the head
Point
of
of
state.
order.
Honorable member, what's your point of order?
It's not disappoint, it's unappoint. Disappoint means something
that-
different.
that's not
it's
the
this
point
thing
of
of
order.
reading true love as opposed to political literature.
Please sit down, Josie.
Not disappoint. That means
Honorable
different.
Josie, please.
Comrade
sit down.
Naledi Pando, please intervene, man. Yes, yes.
Bro, that Adam lives rent free in my mind, bro. Anyway, whatever. Yes, we need to keep it moving, Mr. Boy.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. This is all to say
Oh yes.
a
yes.
lot of people are generating views and clicks and content from your outrage. So it's
Yeah, we
it's
always
very
say this.
important sometimes when dealing with and the people you fight with on social media. Sometimes just look at the account, look at who it is. Do they have a blue tick? If they do, the incentivization. Like sometimes it's meant to bring you back to conversation. Like look who's in. Oh, Mom Cuddles. Ah, Shem, the energy. Shout out to her, man. She has time for trolls.
No. She's fighting the good fight. The fight that
Yeah.
some of us cannot. She's fighting the good fight. So
Nah,
good shout out.
and the commitment over an
Yeah.
extended period of time to correcting trolls and people online, that takes dedication to the cause. Because a lot of people are baiting you intentionally sometimes.
Yeah.
And
No,
some
no.
of
Most
us
of
will
the
be
time,
like,
it's especially with people getting paid, right? I think it's maybe slightly less so, pre-Elon, but definitely now we know negativity sells, right? So if I say
and
some
you
shit,
can
then
come
on.
pay to hide your blue tick.
Oh, really?
I thought there was a time when they said you could. No, I think he canceled that because I think initially Elon had also given you the option to pay
That's
to hide the blue tick to still be able to have the features. But anyways,
Elon Gahambe, you were tired.
did you see the Parliament video?
Which parliament?
Zim Parliament.
Uh-uh.
Because I think actually the whole debate actually about Ndebele and Shona at times came from that video.
Nope.
Where
I didn't see it. What happened?
let me look for it for you. But basically,
Also- I was gonna bring up something else whilst you're loading it up. Are you gonna play it?
yeah, let me try play it.
Okay. All right. So we'll give you 2 seconds to load it up. I sent you the link to this thing, this channel. Let me confirm the YouTube channel. Where's Senna's name? Nope. That's not Senna's name. But anyway, it was called. Anyway, so the title at least is Unreal Street Food in Zimbabwe. So I think it's best ever food review. I think that's the name of the YouTube channel. And the guy was in Zim and he tried this thing called Gango. And in my mind, up until I watched that video, I thought Gango was just like, like how we would have your beef your stewed beef and you mix it with impita, right? That is pretty standard, I think, across all of Zim. So I thought that's what gango was. And like, I'd always wonder when like people from Harare on some, oh my God, gango slaps. I go to this place, I go to Mamrupi's and really I have to have my gango. Like, I'm like, yo, like, I don't understand why people are getting fast. We all have had gango. Like, at least that was at least in my head. I'm like, I don't get it, whatever. But anyway, I let it go. I watched the video yesterday. Apparently, it's like a trifle, but for meat, where these niggas have all types of like you've got what is it, kidney, and then you've got your beef, you've got sausage, you've got chicken feet, like so it's this whole assortment of meat, and
Yeah.
then they wrap it up in some beet. And I thought, oh, okay, so that is different. My bad. So I would like to apologize to all gango eaters and gango lovers. My bad. I was not familiar. I literally thought it
Uh,
was the regular shit. So about
Papa
ukufunda
is a
kuphela.
very, very funny character.
Hey, listen, man. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know until I watched the video, and yeah, Zim street food is very interesting. More diverse than I thought. So I'll give the country credit on that. But yeah, of course the peanut butter was there. They had a whole peanut butter thing. Peanut butter rice with
Of
peanut butter
course,
scholar and peanut butter teams, bro. Like that is insane. But
that is
anyway,
important. It's
I
our national heritage at this point.
yeah, clearly. But anyway, is the video ready, Mr. Moy?
Hold on, give me a second.
How long is a second?
Well, a second might actually be 5 to 10. Actually, let me not. It's taking too long. But
Okay.
basically, it's a video from Parliament
Mm-hmm.
where a woman, Wasuma is in Ndebele, and she actually spoke to. I think she was talking to the speaker about the issues in her ward councils and some of the things that they need the government to help with and the manpower and the resources they need, right? So she said this in Ndebele. And then one of the people who needed to respond,
Mm.
one of the ladies who needed to respond, then asked for a translation because the translation machine, which I think is there in Parliament, wasn't working,
Okay.
right? But then the translator wasn't available. But now when she was speaking back in Shona, there was no translation. So when one of the Ndebele MPs brings it up to say, guys, how come we're not translating Shona? But isn't Ndebele kumele translate the Shona as well,
Yeah.
right? My gosh, did the whole thing not degenerate into an embarrassment? It was embarrassing, bro. It
Yo,
was
send me this
like,
video though. I want to watch it.
and it's like, and the funny thing is, it's like 45 years after independence, that's what everyone was saying. It's like, guys, what do you mean we're doing this now? Like, let's move on. And the funny thing is, it's not to say that these are attitudes which are reflected in most of the countries. Like, I think as a republic, we are just not there. But to see it at your highest office, you just end up being like, how, like it.
Let's so it's a 4-minute thing. I mean, we'll play it once until they start losing their shit.
Umbuzo wami kuminister uthi kulama ward angelama ward coordinators azafakwa nini ama ward coordinators lawo ukuthi ancedise omama. Okwesibili ukuthi lapho kulama ward coordinators khona ama wards akhona amakhulu kakhulu abenelisi ukusebenza ngendaba zokuswela kokuhambisa. Ngiyabonga.
Honorable Minister. Ndinechikumbiro chokuti when Honorable Speaker started speaking, my translation was not working. So I kindly ask for staff also to help me so that I can understand the question better and I can respond adequately. Honorable Member, please may you repeat your question?
Ngiyabonga Minister. Umbuzo wami uthi ema reserve ngale kula ndawo ezingela kulama ward angelama ward coordinators. Ama ward coordinators lawo azafakwa nini? Owesibili uthi lapho kulama ward coordinators khona ama ward akhona makhulu kakhulu.
Sorry, Honorable Member, the translation is not audible.
Madam Speaker, I can translate.
Thank you very much, Honorable.
They need to turn the mics on. I need to hear the disorder.
Why is Shona not being translated in this house? Only Ndebele is being translated. You are Shona here. Nyarara we. Awunyarara lapha akelichasiseni. Nyarara. Uma yenza njalo. Uphendule.
Honorable Minister, are you ready to respond? Mazvita, Madam Speaker. Ndinoda kutenda zvikuru.
How?
Oh, okay. Minister, pindirai nemutauro wamunoda. Madam Speaker, ndinotenda kuti
Zishona, asizishona, asizwa. Translate for us. Tit for tat. Isn't Ndebele siya translate ishona, cause translate. Singabosidelela. Borani wewe. Borani wewe.
unozama ulokele usana kuti jairira.
Ngili Ndebele. So ukuthi
please.
Why are we translating one language? Why are we translating one language? In 45 years after independence, why are you translating one language? It's unacceptable. You can't silence the Ndebele.
On a point of order, Madam Speaker. Shut up. On a point of order, Madam Speaker.
Mulokeli garapas dokuingego.
On a point of order, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on a point of order. Are you the acting chief whip?
Yes, I am.
Please, may you come in.
Mulokeli garapas dokuingego.
Yeah.
Kujingwa muno iwewe.
Yo, you know what? I would have been so upset if you didn't send the video because you did a terrible job describing how funny.
I described it.
No. This is peak SA Parliament, bro.
Look, I was trying to send the video and then my network was being weird.
That is insane. No, listen, you said it devolved, but this really devolved.
Yeah, it did. It devolved.
Tribal nonsense, bro. It's like,
yeah, it was ridiculous.
Here's the thing. This is the sad reality that I've accepted, right? From an Ndebele perspective, I think at least the skies that we grew up in, right, was very, very heavily Ndebele, right? So the skies, when me and you were like in primary, for example, versus the skies today are almost two different cities. And a lot of the time when you grow up in that type of skies that we grew up in, you will have, kind of like we mentioned, last week, Uguti, we lived in this bubble of, oh, okay, if you grow up in skies, most definitely you at least understand Ndebele. You might not speak it, but at least you understand. And there's also a bunch of people that also speak Shona as well, right? That was kind of the wisdom that you grew up knowing, where I'd venture even to say like a lot of people were bilingual, right? But it was very clear, like, yo, Ndebele was not this foreign thing. But now the problem is if you grow up in skies, which we pretty much did, like almost never ventured outside of skies unless it was a short holiday or, specific to Zim rather, right? Or a visa run. You think the rest of Zim is like that, where obviously not everybody speaks Ndebele, right? But people are aware that Ndebele people exist and that there's this language called Ndebele, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like where it's kind of like you figure your way out in skies. It's never really too much of a big of a big talking point. Kanti, you know what I mean? You get to other parts of Zim and you realize that you niggas don't really matter. You know, you're like, to some people, Amandebele are a myth. You know, like there's so many people who to this day have misconceptions of Amandebele or Isindebele and all these other things because they've just never interacted with any of us. And then you do the thumbs and you realize what percentage of the population we actually are. And you're like, oh shit, we are a minority at the end of the day. But our attitude is not the one of a minority. Our attitude, our egos are just as big as our Shona counterparts, which then, you know, it results in this, because this really could have easily been solved by, I think, the first lady who spoke in Ndebele, right? She's speaking in Ndebele, fine, fair, and fine, no problem, right? The lady responds and says, hi, listen, translation machine is not working. Fair, right? Up to that point, I think everything is okay. There's nothing to see here. I then expect, and I think it came a little bit later on, when the other guy goes, hey, I can translate if necessary. That should have happened almost immediately. And then proceedings go on, right?
Yeah.
That was slightly delayed. And then obviously, again, that ego from Ziligazi comes out. We'll get, no, before that.
Yes,
The
we hadn't
lady is
gotten there
offside.
yet.
The lady is offside. By then, she easily spoke in English, saying, hey, I need a translation. So we know she can speak English capably, right? It's not like she stammers or she can't speak English. So we know she speaks English.
Yes.
She deliberately chooses
Exactly.
to then start speaking in Shona. And it's like, come on, dog. Like, at that point, everybody knows the games that you're playing, right? And it's like, in as much as I expect better from our representatives, right? To listen, be the bigger person. I also have no problem with not being the bigger person.
No, I think no. And there's a very loud point that he made, and he said this, and he's like, guys, 45 years after independence, like, and you know how, like, when he said that, right?
Yeah.
There's something in me that was like, these are not the conversations that we should be having now. And even when people were trying to start it on Twitter, there was like genuine fatigue about this topic. Like, we are not there
but just the
anymore
thing
as a
is,
country.
Twitter. The thing with Twitter is those are not long Twitter. They're not real people, but the people that are fatigued by that, right? I would wager they at this point are better informed in terms of, hey, bro, listen, this is how we saw things on both sides, and we've moved on. We're trying to bring a spirit of togetherness or a sense of togetherness, right?
Yes.
But the problem is there is a large majority. NRZ is a minority on Twitter, but I think it's the majority in the country. That's the problem. That's that mentality is still very, very strong. The moment you leave Matland, even in Matland, but especially once you leave the confines of those borders, bro. When I tell you that,
I don't want to say it to that extent.
No, bro, I've seen it. I've experienced it, dog. Like, if someone, you will meet people that genuinely, when I tell you, I wasn't exaggerating, some people right now believe Amandebele are a myth. Like, it's these, you know what I mean? They have an image of Ndebele where you go like, whoa, what the hell? You know, like it exists today, right? And it's just because, again, they've never bothered to interact, or we're just not there. We're not in those areas of the country, right? So I want to just grow up hearing about, hey, there's these people, Wanje, and, you know, shit goes like that. But I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed, extremely disappointed. This is what it devolved into, even though it was hilarious. But am I surprised? Absolutely not. Because that is the reality on the ground.
No, I don't think anyone is surprised. I'm just saying that when he made the point about 45 years after independence, it's unacceptable. I think there's an acceptance of even though those people are there, right? I'm not saying they're not there, but there's an acceptance of those aren't things we can have at the highest level in our country.
Last week, what did we talk about? We talked about Pick and Pay, right? What did you bring up? What was the story you brought up about Pick and Pay? What happened when they set up shop in Skies?
Everyone in the country came through. Everyone in the country was allowed the opportunity.
And you know, from a Ndebele perspective, how that was taken, right?
Of course.
Exactly. So, like, these 100%. Things are happening in front of us, where you see Abantu Bepiwa is Kundla, who have nothing to do with the land, right? Like, how do you get someone from wherever else in the country, like, yeah, come run this shit, bro? Like, there's people that live here that, professionally speaking, are more than equipped to run the same shanties. But when Asogumele umuntu aphume from headquarters to come and run this, why? Right? So like
No,
that is the reality of the country, unfortunately, where you do speak to people that are there day in, day out, where they're like, hey, bruh, this is why we always end up dipping. Because it's just, you look at it and it's like your country, you have the passport, you're a citizen, but you're almost treated as like
a second-class citizen.
Yeah, we are, you know what I mean? It's like, no,
Yeah.
I pay taxes like you. You know what I mean? Like, it's my visa gets denied to London just like yours gets denied to London. We're in the same boat. But like in the country,
but I think I'm amongst the most, I think, reasonable citizen. Let me put it that way. There's an understanding that these people don't have a place in the society in terms of, because we've got so many problems in Zimbabwe, dog. There's so many issues. This should not be one of them 45 years after independence. So that's why I'm like, we are so far ahead. We're so far ahead in years in this journey. We've navigated hyperinflation. We're still navigating hyperinflation.
We have not
as a country.
we still
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're still in the shits.
No, but
and then we want to talk about this.
It's the same shit though, because like again, you look at America, like niggas been free for however many years, how many hundreds of years, right? But they're still being shot down like dogs, by the police officers who are there meant to protect them. So on all levels, it's I don't know how you can I don't know how
at least pretend. Like at least when you get to parliament, pretend. Even if you go home and you act a specific way, because let's face it, it's like in South Africa sometimes that there's many families where the K word flies. In America, there's many households where the N word flies.
Yeah.
With the hard ER, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The only reason it becomes such a big deal in public is because there's a social contract which says, you can't say that about me in public.
Yes. Yes.
You can't exclude me in public. You can't do this in public. Yes, fine. You might be a racist. Keep that to yourself. You might be a tribalist. Keep it to yourself.
The other thing, Mr. Moya, right? These are not, at least from the video, I was watching it on the minimized Lokuzen, but I'll watch it properly after we finish recording. Those all looked like lappies and queens born in like the 70s and 60s for the most part, or even 80s, 70s, 60s, right? And that generation of people is well entrenched. Like, again, if I replaced one of those people, like my dad is not really like, he's not going to be the type of person to vusa msindo like that, right? But if my dad had my personality, 110%, he's, hey, what do you mean? Why is the Shona not being translated? Why are we assuming that everybody speaks Shona? I would have a problem with that, right? So that generation of like our parents is not, we know what their thoughts are. And again, it's the small microaggressions. You get stopped by the cops. How would your dad greet the cops when the cop came to the window and said, Magadi? How would your dad respond? What would he say?
No, respond in Debele.
Exactly. Yeah, Sawbonaba. Gunjan. Like that's just you know what I mean? Like that's the reality. Like our parties and creeds are not moving from those posts, given everything that they've gone through to this point. So how can we expect Parliament mainly made up of similar age brackets to then act differently? It would be nice. I agree with you. Like, look, it's embarrassing on a national level that this is what it's devolved into, but that's just what's going to happen. Like, again, steps could have been taken to avoid that whole thing. But I think once the lady stood up and started dowering, I was like, I was even shocked how much more it escalated. Because I couldn't see her facial expressions, but I'm pretty sure she looked a little bit smug.
Because it seemed like she was, but it seemed like she initially, and I don't know what radicalized her. Or
I think
maybe
she was talking
someone.
Like, it's not on camera, but I think someone next to her or something said some shit.
someone said something,
Yeah, I
and
think
then
because
she turned
she
because
wasn't on a
initially she was
madness
very
initially.
no, she wasn't.
Yes,
She was very,
she was
no,
cool.
I would like me, I apologize, which is what she should have done. My translation
Exactly.
is not working.
Yeah.
I want it so that I can answer properly. I'm like, oh, okay. Because also when I saw it on Hopewell's thingy, on
Mm,
Hopewell's Twitter, because he's the one who posted it with the caption, "Ukuthi, this is what happens in Parliament sometimes."
mm.
So when I saw that part, I'm like, okay, I don't see the disgrace. She clearly said, no, my translation's not working.
Yeah.
I want someone to translate for me.
Yeah.
What then followed was her. So, like I said, something radicalized her mover. Either
Nah, I
she
think
was
someone tapped her
egged
and said
on
some
by
shit. Yeah.
friends.
Yeah, 100%. And it's sad because now because of that interaction, we know how those people really feel. And these are people in leadership positions, right? So like now, if you're a resident of Skies who's hoping that there could be potentially more opportunities or like a future on the
Not
horizon,
just
there's
not
no
just
story.
guys, bro. Like not just guys. Like if you someone who went to work in Harare from Blues
Yeah,
or
yeah,
from
yeah.
Gwanda or from
100%.
Kweru or from wherever, they don't speak the main language of the country. It's it's not to say you won't face some sort of exclusion in a way. It's just like I said, for me, 45 years after independence, these are the things that shouldn't be in the public eye.
Ah, that one. But look, I think overall I'm happy. I'm happy because at least everybody saw for themselves, right? I think you can see how that devolved and what it turned into, and like kind of these are the opinions that people hold, and these are lawmakers, right? So I'm happy when things like this are exposed because you look crazy when you say, "Hey, the country is not for us," and people go, hey, what do you mean? You're just not patriots. And then, jiggy, jiggy. You know what I mean? It's like shit is exposed.
Hmm.
You can see it for yourself, right? But what I would like to know is like, look, I know nothing about the first lady who spoke in Debele, like, because she could be, you know, and from what we've never seen on video and stuff like that, she could be as bad, right? She purposely speaks in Debele when everyone knows she speaks English well or whatever, and then she
No,
will
that's
teach
not
people
bad.
rise out of it. I don't know. I
I
think
don't think that
no.
would be bad. It would
I think with the
be
history that Zim has, my mandate would be let's just all speak in English, man. Like if we're in Parliament, let's like we're trying to get shit done. Let's just all speak because if we start this core speaks in Debele, this core speaks in Shona, we're again the egos come back into it, right? Where
no,
we're
but
all
but
trying to sun each other for no good
but
reason.
we can't. That's not sustainable. You can't build a country on, let's just all agree from now on. We're just not going to speak our languages. It works in South Africa.
No,
Like you
in
get
Parliament,
there.
no. In Parliament, it can work. If we're having those sessions, I'm talking about those sessions specifically where it's a town hall type shit, right? I'd impose the because Ali Tembeg, that's my problem. It's going to devolve into what happened, right? So let's not give that air because shit needs to be voted on, agreed on, or said, right? Where areas of the country need help. So let's focus on the mission at hand. That's why I'm saying if the country could handle a multilingual society, absolutely I'm for it. Just like you have in South Africa where people, speak in Zulu, Tswana, whatever, English, all that kind of shit,
Mhm.
Afrikaans. Sure, that would be great. But what you've shown me is you guys are incapable of handling a situation longe without it devolving into tribal politics for good and or for worse. Hey, bruh, let's use the colonists, the colonizers' language and call it a day.
But
Otherwise, we'll
that's
always have these
but
little
that's how
microaggressions.
but that's how languages die eventually, right?
No, no,
It's
bro, it's just a
important.
parliament session, bro. It's not gonna die. Like
No,
as soon as you
but
leave,
the
you
thing
can rap
is,
all the Shona and Debele that you like. But I can't.
no,
Nah, 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 nah,
it
nah.
can because and the other challenge, right? Because
Mm,
not everyone who then has to speak in front of Parliament who speaks English properly or can
mm.
communicate in English well. Like if you've risen through your community leadership to be an MP
Yes.
without great English,
Mm-hmm.
and all you know is Shona or Ndebele, what is going to happen is you'll get there and they'll be like, we're only conversing in English. you'll be excluded, right? It's important to translate, and it's important to make sure that everyone's language is represented and heard, because you get things that will be, no, me, I didn't mean it like that. Now we've drafted a constitution based off something you didn't mean.
No, I mean, again, I
Know
think
what I mean?
it'll never get to that. I think again, you're much more optimistic than I am, right? To me, we all know what's going on over here. So either we cut the fuckery and we get shit done, or it's always going to devolve into these type of things, because now I know how you really feel, and Lord knows what happens when the cameras are off, right?
But my
and
thing
and
is,
and and this, if you speak to
these
these
people,
politicians, they will tell you, bro. Like, we know politicians, like they tell you about ukuthi kunjani and what's the, mbano dlayo, mbano ngadli, like all these type of things, right? We
but being
know.
able to work with, being able to work, I'm sorry, but being able to work with translations and translators
Mm.
is one of the bare minimum tasks of being a politician in any country. Because you go to a SADC conference, you go to an AU conference where people don't speak your language, bro. But you've
Yeah, but
gone there as in
Senna,
minister of whoever,
the
or
history, the history in Zim, bro. Like, it's not, that's the thing. It can work in South Africa, right? But it can't, there's reasons why it's a big struggle in Zim, because on both sides of the coin, there's a lot of disdain for right or wrong. There's a lot of disdain there, right? And a lot of people are frankly not willing to come to the table, like, and have good
but I
faith
actually,
conversations.
I
I don't
think I
believe
think
that.
I just think Zimbabweans, yeah, and I think a lot of Zimbabweans are way past a lot of that bullshit, bro. And I think
Moyo.
I'm just saying,
Yeah. Now,
I'm just saying.
you're going to the to the capital at some point. Let's speak after your visit to the capital. I think you need
No,
to spend a
I'll
bit of
go.
time and just see the environment. Like, look, you're speaking like a God is in it type of yab, right?
Not
So
even. No, not even,
it's
bro.
giving, bro. Like,
No, not at all.
the majority of the
It's
country is
literally
past
saying,
it, dog. Chief.
and I think that's why, and I think that's why, and I think that's why the whole thing to say 45 years after it, we can't still be there. Because honestly, it's one of those things where as a country, we really should not still be there.
I agree with you. But people, the problem is, there's a lot of people not willing to have good, if negotiate in good faith and have good faith conversations.
Mhm.
It's not and if that's the case, if I'm gonna be like, yeah, no, Senna, you're right, then as soon as we switch off the mics, we'll end up, but fuck those niggas, right? That's a lot of people's attitudes. And so as long as that is your attitude, we're never going to progress, because you don't believe that, right? There's people who genuinely look at, the minorities in Zim, namely Amandebele, and be like, y'all are not Zimbabweans. Genuinely. And you might think, it's a minority, it's extremist. And I'm telling you that you'll be shocked at the numbers in that side of things, right? They are very vocal people trying to bring the country together. Don't get me wrong, right? I've met a lot of people that are like, yo, this is some nonsense. Why are we doing that? There's a lot of there's a lot of us who are mixed, right? But there's also a pretty fair share, not a small, hey, this is some KKK type shit, bro. But there's a fair share of people that are like, nah, screw that. All the interactions where we have. Remember, I used to complain a lot when I was in the US. Like, you meet someone, oh, you're from
Mm,
Zim, man, and then it's like,
mm,
oh my god, you know what I mean? Like, and that one is like a lower level on the scale of 1 to 10. That one's like on a 3 or 4 type thing on annoying, right? Now imagine, you heard some of the things that were being said in that clip, Sen. You heard that
mm.
shit. That is not, it's not just a few people that think that. Nothing there that was said shocked me on some, oh my gosh, I've never heard that one before. Anyone who's living in Nice right now will probably listen to the pod and DM us and be like, yeah, I hear that shit all the time.
Mm-hmm. No, 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 like I said, so for me, it was more just to say, after 45 years, this should not be where we are.
I agree
And
with you.
and
I
that's the
agree with
point
you
that
there.
I think that struck home with me when I listened to that video. It's like, even if you think so at home,
Mm.
don't bring it to the highest office in the land. Like, that's the stuff that makes it embarrassing. Like, it's like I know these mentalities are there, but keep it at home, bro. Like,
No, they
we're here to
shouldn't
run
keep
a
it at home.
country.
There's no room to keep it at home. I think
No,
that's
and I say keep it at home because it would be naive of me to think, Uguti, you no longer have these mentalities, right?
yeah.
But if we're going to be running the country and we
Mhm.
need to run a functioning country, we
Mhm.
cannot, 45 years after independence, still be dealing with tribalism as an issue that's stopping us from getting work done.
Manchimina, I'm here to tell you that I do not see us moving forward there. It's just there needs to be a from at least from the top even there needs to be a demonstrated effort to foster togetherness. I think there needs to be a very, very clear sort of, hey, look,
Yeah.
that all of that is bullshit. Like, we're all Zimbos. That's what
You
we're
should
doing going
read,
forward. Not to Guti, hey, I'm from here. Like, because
yeah,
yeah, the moment, like, look, I'm gonna back my team. Like, once we get on, if you divide us on tribal lines, people will represent, right? And it's because of all the animosity from the past and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's still there. You know what I mean? Like, we've been told these stories by our families, our granddads, our cocos, and what. So it's like, and so for as long as that's the case, where you don't feel like you're wanted in that space, you're going to be defensive. And then even worse, when someone now provokes you saying, why don't you know? You know what I mean? Like, because that is a form of domination of like, nah, submit, speak the language, right? Where you should want to speak the language because you want to connect, not because you were told to and your nationality is hinged to that. You know what I mean? That's where a lot of people have problems at the end. Like, nah, I'm not, because why? You know, and then they resist at the end of the day. But anyway, it's yeah, I'm pessimistic. I don't think yeah, that one it's yeah. Hopefully the kids born in the 2020s, you know, I think maybe I have hope for them. Because we're the parents,
nah,
so our generation has the opportunity to, you
do a
know,
lot better.
yeah, we have the opportunity to kind of define, you know, how my son looks at the Zim situation, you know, Sean and Debele, all that kind of stuff. Like, I have control in terms of how I have him view that. And a lot of parents who listen to the pod and a lot of people listen to the pod will be parents. You have the power. Senna, you have the power, right? To to basically design the mindset of your kid, you know?
Yeah,
So if we all
yeah,
agree and we have Senna's mindset of like, hey man, look, let's move forward, and then you breed kids that have that mindset, then you now will have a proper majority of people that go, yo, that's stupid. I pray one day that will be like, if someone goes, oh, ha ha ha, like, why don't you speak, you know, David, and they get made fun of like, dude, like, are you born in fucking 1990? What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like, I hope
yeah,
that becomes the school of thought at some point with this generation now. Otherwise, you know, it's we've talked shit about the old heads. It's in our hands now. At least with this next generation, it's all in our hands. At least as millennials, and we have to sort of, as a consensus, say, you know what, let's do better. Otherwise, Gamo will be on his own pod talking about other shit. Talking like, yeah, locally super. It's like still peak there. Hopefully that won't be the case, but yeah. Anyway, Mr. Moyo,
yeah.
I think we need to wrap it up here. We've gone long. I'm trying to see here if there's some stuff I sent to myself on
Mm.
on iMessage. Let me see if there's anything we can do quickly to have a good laugh. Uh, oh, um, let me play this. There's a dude who says that it's a caption. I forget what the caption is, but effectively he's going out on a date
Mm.
and he he's going out on a date and he's doing his makeup. You can see this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
Take
anyway,
my girlfriend on a date.
yeah, get
Okay.
ready with me to take my girlfriend on a date, right? So obviously
Okay.
everybody else cannot see what we are looking at, but effectively this guy is doing his makeup. He's putting on the Senna. You should know this. What is he putting on his face? Try again.
What do you mean I should know this?
You should know this, bro. Like, what is it called? So every time your
In
wife puts on makeup, you don't know what she's putting on her face?
I don't know, it's makeup, dog. It's
Oh
it's
my
like all the
God.
stuff.
I
So it's
think
foundation
there we
and
go.
like
There we
I
go,
don't
Mr. Man.
know.
This one, I think it's concealer. I don't know. I don't know. There's a foundation and there's a concealer. But anyway, point is he's putting that on his face. So this guy has a little bit of his original face is a little bit of I think it's acne, right? So he's putting on the makeup
Mm.
thingy, and then he's got the blender. It's called the blender, that thing, and then he's blending the makeup.
Blender.
It's called I think again, guys, look, I could be 100% wrong, but I'm pretty sure I've heard that before. Because it blends, isn't it? You're supposed to blend because they put different colors on their face, and then like you have to blend
Okay.
that up. I think, look, I could be completely wrong, but hey, sometimes when you pass it, you listen to these things. Anyway, so my guy is also putting a, how like you can the eyeliner thing is meant to make your lashes look blacker or some shit like that. He's doing that to his hairline,
Mm-hmm.
so now he looks like he has a fresh trim, right? Like it looks like he
Mm-hmm.
has a fresh fade, right? So he's
Mm-hmm.
doing all of that, and then he's put on the makeup on his face. He doesn't look like a girl. He just his face looks very like flawless, right? And he's
Neat.
neat. There we go. There we go. There we go. That's the right word. I saw this video. Obviously, the gents in the comments are doing what the gents in the comments would do. I saw that and I laughed. And I'm kind of happy for this gent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would love to be in a ladies group chat when a girl goes out on a date. And then you see this dude, he's looking good, like, hey, jawline, everything is looking like, hey, man, I hit the jackpot. And then y'all hook up, you wake up in the morning, and, you know, that wasn't the case. The
Mm-hmm.
hairline isn't the hairline, it's an inch back. You know what I mean?
Makeup on the pillow.
Yo, listen, I would love to be a fly on the wall in the group chat because I know for a fact the
You show
comment
me.
the commentary would not be kind. It would not be kind, right? And look, the game is the game, man. Like, look, if there's dudes out here doing this thing, shout out to you. Hoodwink them, get back for the rest of us. So me personally, I support this movement. If that's your thing, do your thing, dog. I'm not judging you.
Mm-hmm.
I just found it to be funny. Like I was like, you know what? Yeah, we need fighters on our side to level the score a little bit because us when we say, yo, this is kind of sus sometimes. Like sometimes you take it to an extent. Like I think makeup on its own is not an issue. I've never really said makeup is bad,
Mm.
right? But I think we've also been sometimes it's taken to an extent where you look and you're like, yo, bro, that's not actually your face, you know that, right? But then you get attacked because it's
Yeah.
like and the attack of it, the frustrating part is if you go, yeah, it's not my face, but I want to look like this, then it's like, okay, cool, right? Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's your thing, do your thing. But then it's one of those things where no, it is my face. It's like, no, dog, it's not. Right? I'm not saying it's a problem that it's not your face, but let's not pretend. That's where I get frustrated. Where it's like you now want me to pretend that if you take off this
So wait.
makeup, you are a
So if you
completely different
ever
person.
so if you ever went to someone and if you ever went to someone and said, oh, your makeup is so cool,
Yeah.
do you think people would be offended by that?
No. I think that's a cool statement, right? Like, oh yeah, you really did your makeup well today, or something like that, right? Like, I think that's a fine
Yeah.
thing to say, right? But I
Right.
think
Cool.
when there's been that conversation around, hey, bro, like you can literally look like a different person with makeup versus what you actually look like. The pushback has been to you're basically trying to convince us that that is not true. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where I have issues. We're like, no, bro, like, look, just admit it's fine. Like, no one is going to say whatever, right? But I think most gents have a problem of like Don't try to convince me what I'm seeing is not what I'm seeing.
But I think
Right?
also
Like,
sometimes there's a certain way in which us as guys can approach the topic which is not sensitive enough.
that is
Because
true.
it's like you want the person to admit nje just for the sake of
But they
so
must
that they can
admit it.
say
No,
why.
to be no, like again,
It's like
it's not a
because
good
at
faith
times it's like
conversation. I do agree with you.
no,
It's not
yeah,
a
it's
good faith
because
conversation.
do you know what I mean? It's like why do you want me to admit you can see it's makeup? I know it's makeup. Why are you asking me? Do
No.
you know what I mean? Like it becomes like why do you want to ridicule me?
Fair, fair, fair,
It's like
fair.
I'm not gonna give you the luxury to do that. But that's just how I think about it. It's more or less I don't think people are just trying to pretend like it's my face, it's my face. It's like I don't want to have to discuss whether or not it's my face.
Look, I think I agree with you. I agree with you for the most. I will no. I'll agree with you that there are definitely people that have that opinion. Uguti, a like, look, why do you want to know, or why do you want to, take it apart, right? I do
Mhm.
agree with that. But what I'm talking about is specific to the people that try to convince others, hey, bro, this is my face. That's where I'm like, no, but chief, like it's if someone says, yo, you look like a different person, I think it's fair. Yes, it is makeup, nigga. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't mean that it's not okay to put it on or to look different. Hey,
Mhm.
that's your thing, right? But don't try to convince me it's not what I'm seeing. That's where I'm like, but chief, let's not let's not pretend.
Mhm.
That's my only argument, But yeah, if it is a case of my face, whatever, hey, do whatever you want to your face. We're not telling you, please, please. I don't want DMs talking about, hey, look, it's your face. I'm not telling you to do something. Please, I don't want, people to be misconstrued.
Vele, it's my face, Maposa. Vele is
I don't want that, bro. I'm talking about a very specific demographic based on specific fights and arguments that I've seen being had at the end of the day. So that's really it. I found it funny when this guy did it. I was like, hey man, do your thing, dog. If
yeah.
anyone is in this man's DMs talking about, hey, if any ladies in this guy's DMs thinking about, nah, you're catfishing people, then nah,
Mhm.
I'm going to defend him. Like, no, 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 no. It's his face, and he's going to do what he wants. If you get
Mhm.
catfished, that's your fault for being catfished. My man just had his face, looking good. That's really what it was. And fair is fair, right? We apply each to both
Mhm.
sides. That's all that I'm saying. I think we must be fair. I think we must be fair. So if there's gents out there putting on makeup, shout out to you. Do your thing. Banyise, you have my vote of confidence. That's all. That's all. That's it.
Mhm.
But
No.
anyway, 2.5. Yeah, no, but actually, no, we took some breaks. So fair enough, people. We have to love you and leave y'all. It's been a good time. Y'all know what it is. Like the thing, subscribe to the
Mhm.
thing, retweet the thing. And if you don't, we're inclined to believe y'all is some haters, Mr. Moyo.
Ladies,
Oh, actually, shout out to the listeners. All of you guys who are retweeting as well, liking, sharing the
we
pod.
give thanks.
Shout out to you guys. We appreciate y'all are the realest. So we do not what you might call it. Asli tati kancane. We appreciate all of you. Whether you listen for 5 minutes or you listen to the whole pod. Appreciate that.
Mhm.
Click. Keep sharing. Our listeners are on your timeline. So, whether it's a screenshot, it's a clip, it's whatever, that's all that it takes. That's it. Whilst you're listening, don't, if it's hard, don't do it, right? But whatever. If you're feeling the content, share, put it out there. Even DM it to someone on WhatsApp. It doesn't need to be public, right? If our ghost
Mhm.
listeners, I know we did threaten you last time. I was joking, but but yeah, just DM it to someone, like one person. Hey, bro, I feel like you'd feel this podcast, and then that's it.
Yes.
That's it. That's all it
We
is. That's
give
all it is.
thanks.
That's all it is. All right, later, peoples.
Ladies.